Hello everyone, welcome to Lighthouse Stamping with Lorraine. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Vancouver, Washington. Thank you for joining me today. Before we get started, the housekeeping notes. All the product I'm using and all the dimensions are listed below. There's a link to my online store if you wish to purchase any of these products and help support my channel. There's a link to our Facebook group. We'd love to have you join that. There's my email address if you have any questions or want to find out about in-person classes. And finally, remember to like, share, and subscribe and help me grow in YouTube world. You're saying, why do I have a picture, the annual catalog sitting in front of me today? Well, you know, the Christmas catalog comes out, and everything happens, and all of a sudden everybody ignores the annual catalog. But there's something in this catalog that you need for fall. And it's DSP. It is the Splendid Autumn 6x6 DSP. This carried over from last year. And I know that's really hard to see, but it's in the annual catalog. Many of you probably already have it, so don't ignore it. So I just grabbed one sheet of each. I am not spending a lot of time on this. I'm just going to thumb through these really fast. The back sides are pretty neutral. That looks like a truly fall day, at least in the Pacific Northwest. It's just, there's a few pumpkins, trees, flowers. It's just a great set. And the B side is just as good as the A because it's lots of fun. So you can tell what DSP we're using today. We're also going to be using, once again, quite a few stamp sets. We're going to be using Amber Autumn, and we are using Blessed to Have You in My Life out of this set. And I'm digging for something to make sure I've got everybody. And I believe that's it for this one. So we're just using the one verse. Thankful Garden, we are using Thankful for You Friend. We are also using out of there 2 dies, leaf dies. If you don't have this set and you go to one of the others, grab some leaf dies. I know everybody's got leaf dies. Grab some leaf dies you like. So 1 verse and 2 leaves. This set, we are using, stamp-wise, we're using the oak, and the acorn, and the acorn die, of course. And I think that, oh, we're using this die here for this one too, and I forgot to grab it. Hang on. We are using, oh, that's not the one we're using. Hang on. I'm getting my sets mixed up as to who comes out of what set. Okay, sorry, back up here. We're using this verse here, and I'm using 2 dies that come from this set here. Okay, I'll put them there so I don't lose them. Then we're using the 2 dies and 1 verse from this set. From this set, we're using the acorn and this, and we're using the acorn die. And the other thing out of this set, this is the one with the big leaves. You've got the acorn and you got the big maple leaf. We're using the big outside of the maple leaf. I wanted you guys to see where I'm getting all of these from because they're going to get all jumbled back up here in a second. So let's put all these back over here till we need them. And we are also using from the Notes dies, Textured Notes dies. We are using the second one in for our label. Okay, what else are we using? Oh, yes. And we are also using the Gathering Leaves embossing folder, which is very pretty. And I'll show you what that looks like because I've already done the piece we need in the Gathering Leaves. I have die cut a lot of stuff out because I didn't think you needed to watch me cut everything out. So let's get started. Oh, you're saying, what are we making? There's that. And this is the card we're making. And it stands up like this. It's a tower card. There's a place to write on the back. I think it's a beautiful card. And I don't know if you can see, I think you can see a little bit of that Wink of Stella on there. So we want it to be a sparkly card too. So that is what we're making. So we need to make all of our elements for this card. Like I said, I've already done the one piece. And I have already cut the DSP that we need. And I'm not going to give you the dimensions on this. I'll give them to you in a few. They're also listed below. Okay. Now I've die cut most of the leaves we're going to need. But not all. Okay, we are going to need, for stamping purposes, this is a scrap of pecan pie. Literally, it's a piece of scrap. There is some crumb cake. We're going to need those for stamping on, okay? For die cutting, you're going to need a piece of Blackberry Bliss, cherry cobbler, darling duckling, old olive, pumpkin pie, and this piece is for making our label, which is very vanilla. We're using very vanilla instead of white because I did not want harsh white against all these fall tones. These are all die cuts, which you will finally see in the package. We'll go through those in a bit. So let's get stamping what we do need to stamp. We need our sentiment for the front. Oh dear. Okay. This is the piece for the back. Where's the piece for, oh, there's the sentiment piece for the front. Moved everything around. So we need to die cut or stamp our 2 acorns. We needed this sentiment, and then we need the back of this and our envelope. So we're going to do the sentiment first, the front on this piece here that we're going to die cut. And we're going to do that in Cajun Craze. And I got a mat out because it is photopolymer. Right in the center because it is a little bigger. Just like that. And then for the back, we are going to put our sentiment in here. And you can put a different sentiment if you do wanted this, but I like this sentiment. Put that right at the top in Cajun Craze. Okay, next we're going to need is, instead of crushed curry, I'm using Darling Duckling on this. I thought Darling Duckling looked good, and I've been using a lot of crushed curry. Not that we are using crushed curry, I just haven't showed you the part that's crushed curry yet. But we are going to use some Darling Duckling. And we are going to take this oak leaf down here, and we are just going to nestle it right here in the bottom, just like that. I think I wanted to stamp it off. I stamped off the first, no I didn't, it's a full one, never mind. And I need an envelope. Well, the other thing is I don't need that. And we'll go ahead and put another oak leaf down in here. And the last thing we need is some acorns. We're using pecan pie for that. So we need one just nestled down there. Just sort of nestling them. They overlap a little bit, but it doesn't hurt it. So there's the back piece of our card, or for the back. And that should be all the stamping. Oh, no, it's not. I forgot these 2 pieces. You need 1 acorn on pumpkin pie, or pecan pie, and 1 acorn on crumb cake. Keep in mind, I said you need a scrap. You need a piece that's about 1 by 1. I just grabbed what was in the bag when I was looking for them. So these need to be die cut. This needs to be die cut. And with the power of magic, I've already die cut those. So you didn't have to watch me do those. I've got them in here in the bag. And we need to die cut a very large maple leaf. And that is going to be our crushed curry. Told you we weren't getting away from it. I just wanted 2 yellows. So we just need a piece of paper, and the piece of paper is roughly, what did I say the piece of paper needed to be? I give you the dimensions below, but roughly 4 1/4 by 4. It's not real big, but it's almost a 1/4 sheet. It's quite large. I didn't cut it before I brought it out. I just do that. So we need to die cut those too. And the label you can shut through the mini, but unfortunately that is too big to go through the little one. So we need 1 maple leaf. There's our beautiful maple leaf. And then we need to die cut this lovely piece here. Remember, if you are sending something that has a flat side through, don't send it through the die machine this way. Send it at an angle. It's easier on your die machine and it's easier on your dies. And the thumping loud noise is not as loud. And I want to put this in here because I want to make sure this is straight as possible. Oh, and that has such a beautiful frame around that. Okay, let me get these all out of my way. And the next thing we need to do is we need to bake the base of our card, since it is a tower card. So you're going to need your... I buried it, so just a moment. I need my cutting board. So you need a piece of, this one's Cajun Craze, but like I said, you could change these colors up any way you want it. So it's 8.5 by 5.5. Okay, I'm just gonna tuck some of those out of my way because I'm gonna scoot this way. Because if any of you watched me before, you know I like to score this in when I can because everything's closer to me and it's easier to see than stretching in or getting my head in the camera. So 8.5 by 5.5. We are going to put the paper in on the 8.5 inch side, and our first score is going to be at 1 7/8. The second score mark is at 3 inches. And don't do what I just did. I just cut the paper. Hang on here for just a second. Do I have any crushed curry in here? Of course I don't. Hang on. Okay, I know I said crushed curry. I was thinking Cajun Craze. I got flustered because I cut my paper. Sorry about that. So let's start over. Let's get a nice piece of Cajun Craze and we'll start over. And I will show you how to prevent that so you don't accidentally do what I just did. But all those pieces will go back into my scrap. Oop, hi. Into my scrap pile here. I'm human. So let's cut this at 5.5. And now, I'm not going to press it. You push it down there if you remember. I'm just going to lift it out like that and set it off to the side. That way I cannot accidentally cut my document. If you're doing a lot of scoring, I mean a lot of scoring, sometimes that's the best way. So let's get back to this. 1 7/8. 3. Now, at this point, you could extend the arm out and do 5.5 and 6 5/8. Or flip it around, go back to 1 7/8 and 3, which I find to be the easiest way. And that's all the scoring. So it's 1 7/8, 3, 5.5, and 6 5/8, or what I just told you, which is 1 7/8 and 3. Turn it 1 7/8 and 3. Okay. Excuse me, I need to put this back on here though. Don't leave this out, especially if you have kittens. This is like a toy to them. But it slides right in just like that. Very easy. Okay. So we're going to take, I'm taking the center one here, folding it in, and folding this back. Folding this one in, and this one back. Just like this. So let's start building this. So let's go ahead and put our back on, because you can decorate these back panels if you want. I've opted not to because I don't think they need it. Or if you need more room to write, you can add more panels. Okay, so that's on the back side. Okay, so we're going to these sides. Now we need this piece here that I did with the embossing folder. And this piece is 2 1/4 by 5 1/4. I didn't want to add color, I just wanted some texture behind it. Okay, now this is a piece of, 2 pieces of the Splendid Autumn paper. These are, I'm going to get these measurements right. They are 1 1/2 by 5 1/4. Now, the 1 1/2, you're going to see in just a minute, is a little short of what we truly need. But I wanted to get the most out of my paper. And when you close the card, you really don't notice what I just did. And I'm going to show you that right now. When you set this in here, and you line up here, here, and here, there is a larger gap here. But when you look at the card, it stands like this. You can't even see into that gap. And it's not that noticeable. By doing that, you can get 2 cards out of 1 sheet of DSP. So sometimes fudging numbers can get more out of what you're going for. So we're going to the outside, we're lining up. So the top and bottom and the side are the same. So 3 sides, but not the one closest in. Especially if it's a fold like this, you know, you don't really see it anyhow, especially when it's standing upright. And I'd rather get 2 cards out of one piece than only one. Now I'll show you about this piece of paper here. I'm going to actually grab, if I can. What did I just do with that paper? Okay. So what I did, I think I should explain this. Here's your piece of paper. You have the yellow tree here and the Cajun tree there, and you got 2 stalks or 2 trunks, okay? But I wanted yellow and Cajun on both cards. So if I did 3 inches to this side and 3, we'd have too much Cajun and too much crushed curry and too much Cajun on one side. So I split it here, took off to 5 1/4, and then I did my 1.5 inches. And then what I did was this card got this trunk and this piece here. This one got this trunk and this piece here. So I got both colors on there. So think about your paper. Think about how you want to disperse it. If you don't care where if no one has an extra trunk, or they have 2 trunks and one has none, it's up to you. But that's the reasoning behind how I cut the paper and cut it shorter than normally would be cut. Hopefully that explains that. Okay. So let's get all these lovely pieces I've been die cutting. I didn't think you needed to sit and watch me do all these. The video would be extremely long if we did. So I'm going to set this to the side because we're going to build on here. So I have now the first card I did my old olive ribbon. This one I'm going to do early espresso ribbon. Just changed a couple things. So here's this is my Blackberry Bliss. I did a couple extra, but I only need one of the pumpkin. I need one. This is Daffodil Delight. This is Cherry Cobbler. Mossy Meadow, Old Olive. And then our 2 acorns out of the 2 different colors there, and our sage. So let's start building. You can decide what you want to do, where you want to place things. To keep in mind that, I'm just going to grab the back of my envelope here. I usually have a thing. You need to make sure that you've stayed inside the framework of your card. By meaning, here, you have to be inside the framework there. You can use an envelope or cut you a piece of standard card. And I do have one around here, but I don't know where it is at the moment, so I'm not going to worry about it. Or am I? And it doesn't even have to be a full card. This is some other that I have, but there should be enough to get done what we want. I need 4 1/4. So just take some scrap. And I want this to be, I'm going to cut from this end because I want to keep as much of it together as possible. 5 1/2. So I've taken a scrap here. I can tell where my frame is now. A solid one is better, but I didn't have a solid white piece here. But it's easy to keep track of where you can see where you can't exceed over what you're supposed to be building. Okay? It's just a framework. So, like I said, I do have one already made, and I don't know where it is. And this literally was a piece of scrap because I had stamped on it. But you know, don't get rid of those. If you haven't die cut it, die cut something else or stamp something else on the front. Cover it up. So I'm going to put this in here. And I put way too much glue where I shouldn't have. No glue at the top. I should know better. I did that last night too. That's okay. We'll be fine. As soon as I wipe my hands off. And the other thing I'd recommend you do is set your silicone mat over your template, just in case. Sorry, I got a little too much glue on my fingers that time. What? Sounds like a tank coming up our street. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue at the base here. And I'm going to go off this way. And no two are going to look exactly the same, but you're going to go across here. And then I'm going to put the yellow one, Daffodil Dot, Darling Daffodil, or Darling Duckling. Instead of putting just a little bit of glue, we're going to have some more dimension. You see, so I'm still staying inside my framework here. This one's off slightly, but it's going to be okay. And then we're going to get back over here. We're going to pop these two in here like this. You can build this any way you want. I'm going to push that up a little bit this time. They don't have to look like the last one. And this is our Blackberry Bliss twig. I liked him because I thought the texture in him made it look so cool. It's going to go right up there. So we built this little bouquet there. And then we have this that's going to go across here. Just about like that. And we're going to use dimensionals on that. Make sure I'm putting them across the top. I know the top will be fine to put those on, but it's here and here I need to be careful, so I need one here and here. And I'm putting them like that. And then I'm going to stick this on here, make it fairly straight. I'm going to pick it up so I can look at it real quick. That looks pretty good. I'm going to put 2 more dimensionals. One on each of my acorns. And I'm just going to tack those sort of like this. It's basically the little acorns are going to overlap, and they are covering up where all of the branches meet in the middle of that. So I do one without holes in it. It is easier. And I would stick to white because it's easy to look up through here and see the white. But like I said, I have one somewhere. But I don't know what I did with it. So now it's time to mount this on here. And by doing that little framework, we're still inside the frame of our card. Because you see how wide that big leaf is that we're using. So now, look where you got him here. You can only put dimensionals on this here. So I'm going to flip it over. So that we don't get dimensionals where we don't want them. So we know we need one here. Going right through the center. I'm going to put one here. And one here. I want one here and one here. I'm putting a few on there. It's a little on the weighty side, and I don't want it falling off. But that should do it. I know some people say I use too many dimensionals, but I don't like my things to sag or fall off before it is received by my recipient. Okay, so I've got this sort of squared up here. Want to go in the middle here. And try to get it as straight as possible. I'm going to lift this up for a second so I can see it straight on. That looks pretty good. So far, so good. Okay, now we need a ribbon and a glue dot. Put my little bow there. And then I'm going to use some bling. That was the early Espresso Old Olive linen thread I was using. And I know they're here because I brought them out before I sat down. There they are. These are the Cajun Craze and Gold. They call them dots. I call them speckles. And there's 3 sizes. So we're going to put a large one down here. And a medium one. And a little one. Now, we're not quite done with this card yet. We need one more thing. We need some Winkostella. I don't know if any of you guys have ever had this happen. The inside cap stays hooked onto your Winkostella. For some reason, mine have been doing that lately. The new ones, not so new. But so I'm squeezing out a little bit here on my desk because I can, and I know it's flowing good. I'm going to go make sure I hit nothing that has been stamped first. Just delete, and I'm not going over the entire. I'm just putting a little bit. I'll hold this up in just a second. We are going to do those acorns. We're not doing the writing. And when you got on your works thing here, I don't want to go too much on these because they bleed the color too much, but just a little bit. But anyways, if that thing pops out, just drop it back in and it closes back up just fine. And any Winkostella on your desk wipes right off. So that is our card for today. And you can see I really winked this one heavy. But stands up like this. I think it's a beautiful card. So thank you for joining me today, and I will see you on Thursday. Don't know what I'm designing for Thursday yet, but I'll figure it out in the next day or two. Talk to you later. Goodbye.